Welcome to the Christian Life Coach Collective. I'm your host, Laura Malone, and you are in the right place if you want to make an impact in your life and the lives of the people around you. Maybe you even want to turn your gift of helping others into an income so you can support your family and your dreams and make a way for your calling. I'm here to guide you because you deserve to have encouragement and resources and somebody invested in you as you go invest yourself into everyone else. Let's dive into today's episode. Today we're talking about how you love. Your knowledge about how you love people and how they love you and how you feel loved can change everything in a relationship. This is based on the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman, and many of you have probably heard of this, but if you haven't, you can go to 5, as in the number 5, lovelanguages.com, and you can take a quiz, and then all of the information you get, there's a free version and a paid version, of course. You can apply it to any relationship you are looking to strengthen. So that might be romantic relationships, friends, workplace, your family. And I've taken it in the past, but I took it again for this episode because I just wanted to see how it lays out so I can describe it to you, but also make sure that things actually are still what I thought they were. And it's true. My recent results were physical touch, 37, quality time, 36, like they're just tying right there. Words of affirmation, 15, acts of service, 8, receiving gifts, 4. So you can see the decline. You can see how much 2 things really mean to me. And the rest, they mean something, but they just don't compare with physical touch and quality time. So I want to describe these to you. Starting with, we'll just go in order of my results. Physical touch, that includes a range of behaviors, affectionate behaviors, like holding hands and hugging, cuddling, kissing, touching, in a non-sexual way. That kind of stuff, it feels like comfort, a sense of closeness, and even little things like a pat on the back or shoulder, a gentle touch on the arm, that conveys love and support in a very powerful way to somebody whose love language is physical touch. It doesn't mean forcing a hug when they are upset and resistant to physical touch, or they don't want to be touched and they declare it like you can't use it against them and say, but I thought you'd want to be hugged. That goes with it for every love language. If somebody is like, that is not what I need right now, you can't force it and say, but that's what you tell me. Quality time. Basically, anybody who prioritizes this, they value undivided attention and meaningful interactions. I mean, setting a time to be together aside, no distractions, doing things together, deep conversations, whether it's just talking over dinner without a phone, a weekend getaway, taking a walk in the park. The focus is being present and fully engaged, and that's going to require active listening and paying attention. The next one, words of affirmation. This is like expressing love through compliments and words of appreciation and encouragement, telling someone how much you love them, how much you like them, writing thoughtful notes, putting it in a place, and anywhere they can read it, see it, texting them, saying I appreciate you. All of those things are significantly impactful, and regularly affirming what they're good at, like their strengths and their skills and their qualities, their character, that helps them feel very valued and understood and seen. The acts of service people, these people, for them, actions really do speak louder than words, and it means doing things for others that they would appreciate, like cooking for them or doing chores, running errands. This demonstrates love through thoughtfulness, helpfulness, and it shows that you care about their well-being and what they need to get done, and you are willing to actively, physically show up to invest your effort to make their lives easier or better. And then the receiving gifts, it's not about materialistic things. It's about the thoughtfulness and effort that you have taken, put energy into to get the gift and give the gift. So it might be simple, like picking up somebody's favorite snack on the way home, or surprising them with flowers or movie tickets, or giving a meaningful token that shows you were thinking about them. So the key is to choose gifts that reflect their interests and their preferences and make them feel special and like you know them, and not just to say like, I bought you something. So that's kind of an overview of all 5 of them. But remember that just because you have one main love or a couple main love languages that are most important to you, it doesn't mean that the other 3 are meaningless and they don't impact you. It just means they might not fill you up as much as the main ones do. So my husband's 2 highest love languages, like the ones that he really speaks all day long, are acts of service, words of affirmation. So he will say, I still like hugs and hand massages. They mean something to me when I need them, but I think the difference might be that they don't just mean something to me when I need them. They make a huge difference in my perspective and paradigm and how my day goes. They can shift things for me and help me know I feel that I'm loved and wanted and cared for. Like when I do things for him in the yard and he's so busy working on a deployment like the one we're in right now with Hurricane Beryl in the Caribbean, that means I love him to him. Making sure his laundry is done so he can pack to leave. Making sure the dogs are walked and not barking when he's on a staff Zoom call about getting on the ground quickly. All of that adds up for him, but they're kind of like little to nothing for me. He does that kind of stuff for me, and it doesn't speak the same as like quality time. You're really paying attention and engaging with me, or snuggling, stuff like that. So for me, if I'm busy and having a rough day, a random squeeze of my shoulders, like shoulder massage, or pulling me into a long hug, that's going to go a long way for me. Even more so, being an active listener and engaging in what I'm talking about, that can like make me feel like I'm a woman newly in love. I don't mind acts of service. Like he brings me passion fruit iced tea from Quick Trip if he goes there for gas, right? Or words of affirmation like the tomatoes are really coming along, babe. Or the gifts he brings whenever he, like wherever he goes in the world, he like always brings something back for me and the kids. But if he buys me something I really want without me having to send an Amazon link to it, that's like a winner for me, because it's not about the gift for me. It's about the fact that he listened and paid attention to what I said I wanted, and he got specifically that. He tends to be an extravagant person, but I'm very intentional and specific. If I want something, it's because I put the time and research and thought into what I want and why. And that's why quality time and active listening and engagement is important to me, because I'm being very specific and I want that to be heard. So once I was talking about, a few weeks ago, I was talking about how I like the smell of tomato vine. That's different than loving tomatoes, which are fine on a BLT with avocado. But do you know what I got? Like I got 2 giant tomato plants for the lanai. Lord help me, keep them alive. I also found out there's a Mrs. Meyer's spray and soap specifically in tomato vine scent that I have to go looking for now. So the point I'm making is that sometimes love languages can get mixed up and mixed together. If you have different languages from the person you want to connect with, try adding their languages to yours. The more you recognize what you're doing to show love, the better you're going to understand when opportunities arise to show love the way you do, but add their language to yours. So if your significant other needs you to speak in words of affirmation, but you're really a physical touch person, consider adding a hug or a shoulder rub every time you would say something affirming, like, you smell so good, or like the way that you arranged the furniture this time. Like add that to a squeeze or a shoulder rub, right? And I would probably say that I'd add fun to the love languages if I had the power to change it to 6. Because some of my favorite people have a sense of humor that blends with mine easily, and that's a lot of fun. They make me laugh. They laugh at me. And they love doing things that are fun and new and pursue like adventures and experiences. And Gary Chapman would probably say that falls under quality time, but I think fun should be its own category. Okay. I think it's also valuable to know what your kids' love languages are too. And like your friends and your parents, because the sooner you're aware of how they feel loved, the sooner you can be more intentional about loving them well. And the more you know about yourself, the better you can communicate it to others before you get to a place where you're frustrated or you're interpreting their actions and inactions through a lens of they don't love me. I would encourage you to learn more about yourself and your significant others. And I call them SOs. The significant others are not just romantic relationships. It's all of the people in your life that are significant to you, and it matters that you tend to the relationship with them. And when you learn more about all of this, and then you pearl it, as in use the pearl practice, about the way that you've been interpreting all of the situations that have been impacted by the way they love and the way you feel loved. If I didn't know that my husband's love language was acts of service for 22, 23 years, then I would be exhausted at this point of being married to a man, because those things simply mean not very little, just less to me. I'm pretty independent, and if I need to get something done, I'm going to get it done by myself, whether somebody helps me or not. But I can recognize, because I have the information and the language, I can express things because I have the 5 love languages, right? I can see that he's loving me when he does those things, like carry the laundry basket downstairs or blow the leaves off the moss in the woods because he knows I love the moss, or any number of things he does for me throughout the day, like buying tomato plants. Lord, bless those tomato plants. I'm looking for some BLTs, obviously, in the future. So if I don't interpret, actually, hold on. I think he's looking for BLTs. I just had a revelation. Okay. If I don't interpret things through the lens of he loves me, because deep down I believe he does, that's why I married him, that's why he married me, then I will get into that sticky spot of believing he doesn't love me because he doesn't do these things that make me feel loved, especially if you add as often as I want him to, which would be all of the time. If the fact that he works on his phone at the restaurant while we're having dinner means he doesn't love me, I'm in trouble. If the fact he falls asleep earlier than I do without coming to snuggle on the couch for 5 minutes means he doesn't love me, then we are done for. But if I pearl this and I see a contrast between the paradigm that says he doesn't love me and I'm not lovable, I'm neglected, and a new paradigm that says he loves me so much that he does these things and he does that and he does this and he does that, that's what it means to love me the way he loves to him. I have had clients and friends and even myself say, well, does somebody really love you if they know your love language? You've told them, but they never try to work at becoming somebody who loves you the way that you feel loved. And I think, that's a fair question. My biblical answer would be Matthew 7. I've had to say this to myself before. You'll recognize it, but I'm going to speak it in the easy English version. Perhaps you want to tell your friend about his little mistake. If you want to do that, first remember your own bigger mistakes. You're like a person who has a big piece of wood in his eye, but then he says to his friend, let me take that little piece of dirt out of your eye for you. Don't be like that. You think you're better than your friend, but you're not. First, you have to take the big piece of wood out of your own eye, and after that, your eyes will see clearly, and then you can take the small piece of dirt out of your friend's eye. I love easy English version. Gosh, it's like so simple. You're like, oh, right. Like if I put this in marital or any kind of relationship language, perhaps you want to tell your husband about what you didn't like him doing, or what he did that you, or didn't do you're not happy with. Well, if you do that, what if you first remember all the things that you don't do he wanted you to do, and all the ways that you don't love him in the way he needs to be loved? If that's the measuring stick, then you're like a wife with a big chunk of dirt in your eye. You got mud on your eye, or you took your contacts out, but you're saying to your husband, hey, You've got dirt in your eye. Let me get that. Let me tell you about that dirt. Let me tell you how you've been living with that dirt and how I'm affected by the dirt in your eye. Don't be like that wife. You think you're better than your husband, but you're not. First, you have to take all of that dirt out of your own eye. You're covered with mud. There's a bunch of mud in there. You need to put in your contacts, put on your glasses, change out your lenses. And after that, you're going to see clearly. And then you're actually able to help take the dirt and mud out of your husband's eyes, because now you can see. But right now, you can't see because there's so much mud in your eye. We all have our ways. And maybe you are exceptional about loving somebody exactly how they want to be loved. And the key here is they would agree with you. And you still have trouble feeling like they love you back with the same mutual pursuit of meeting your love needs. Then in that case, I would say it's time to look at your communication. It still doesn't mean that they don't love you, but there's a hindrance in there somewhere. Either reading this book, like one of the 5 love languages book together, or discussing and then discussing it, like actually, hey, these are my results and this is what it looks like for me. This is how I feel, and communicating it. Or maybe finding a good counselor is a good place to start for you. I've had to share this scripture with my own soul many a time and get my mind back into alignment with truth. And then I have to intentionally choose to believe the best about my husband's intentions towards me, or I would be broken. And the same goes for my friends, my kids, people I work with in ministry and business. I have to believe the best about people, or it's going to shift my paradigm and I'm not going to be happy. So what is it for you? And how do you need to communicate your love language to people in your life? I would say first go take the quiz and apply it for you personally, and think about, like, what do people do that really makes me feel loved, and what do they do that I think is them loving me, but I don't feel it? Ask yourself, what's their intention? And what did they do that looks like love and means that they love you, but you're coming away with this feeling like I'm not loved? And can you ever potentially decide to interpret that what they do is love? Would that change things for you? The whole world around us can't and won't change for us to meet our every need. Hello, enter Jesus. He is our all in all. So would you be able to communicate to the people in your life, your SOs, what you need ahead of time so that they could be in process of growing towards meeting those needs? And share when they are moving towards you, share that you see them trying to do things when in your love language, even when those things are weird or awkward or not meaningful to them, let them know. I'll be honest and say I have in the past said, hey Siri, what can I do to encourage my hardworking husband today? I just need some ideas because my mind is blank and I'm like, I bet he needs that right now. And you might say, like, is that, what's the right word? Is that true? Is it meaningful if I have to get help to love him the way does it mean the same, right? And I say, I think it means even more. I'm trying to do something that does not come natural to me. So I think that's really powerful. It's like, if my husband does do something and I'm like, wow, that's not normal, that's him trying. It's him trying to be different than what's second nature for him. He's trying to stretch himself, even if he had to Google how to do it. Maybe he needs like AI to summarize what active listening is. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like, that's effort being put into it. So if my mind's blank and a hug for him is just not going to fly right now, I can use what my research says, and I can change it to contextualize it, make it line up with what I actually feel. I'm not saying just copy what AI says, tell somebody exactly what Siri said to say. Like, use it as like put something on the whiteboard and turn it into something that is meaningful for you. Because it's not that I don't have anything to say to affirm him. I just don't think in that language. My language that I think in is sitting and actively listening all day long to everything he has to say and trying to solve problems with him and really caring about what he's working on, because that's my love language. But it's not the language he thinks in. Even though he likes when I think in that language, he doesn't think in that language. It's not what he does. But if I tell him the email he wrote was powerful and moving, or he did an amazing job on the landscaping around the deck, then that fills him up. So it's a mutual movement inside of a relationship. And it's really hard when you have somebody who has a low awareness about themselves and about you. But that's why I'm introducing and explaining this free quiz and the books, because I want, maybe they're going to help you. I'm all about creating opportunities for connection. One thing I find does not work is telling somebody, I know this from experience, telling somebody that you don't feel loved after they've just exerted energy to love you the way they would love you. Making sure they know your disdain and your disapproval and your disappointment, and proving them wrong after they have tried to love you. They might be really meaningfully loving you by doing what they did, but if your expectations were for them to do something else, and now you interpret that it means they don't love you, then the result is a breakdown of connection, and that connection is the glue to a strong relationship in any area of your life. So they have more assessments on this website, 5lovelanguages.com. They can help you determine whether you feel appreciated at work, how you handle anger, what your apology language is. And then under the workplace tab, you'll find the motivating by appreciation inventory. That's not free, and I haven't taken it. But as a leader of 20-some years, having run a large ministry, I know and I've seen the difference between leading from a place of appreciation and leading from a place of command. Is what I call the difference between power to and power over. Power to supports and connects, and power over requires and takes. This assessment is, I would think, probably a great place to get started if you want to learn how to empower the people you work with, whether you're a leader or not, by appreciating them and really finding out how to do that. What's that look like? I did take the apology language assessment, and my results came back as 32% is my highest of planned change, and 28% accepting responsibility, 24% making restitution, 16% expressing regret, 0% requesting forgiveness, which means if you wrong me and you ask me for forgiveness, it does not move me. And that might mean a lot to you, but I'm going to go. And obviously, I love these five languages. I mean, my results say that I want you to explain to me how you plan on changing and never doing that thing again, which I love. I need to tell everybody. So you can use all of these assessments with clients if you're a coach, with people in your life, anywhere there's somebody who wants to strengthen relationships at home or work or church or wherever, and finding ways to communicate and learning the different languages is really important. If you went through life thinking everybody should speak your language, whether it's love or appreciation or apology or whatever, but let's take this into the language you actually speak, like English or Russian, and then if you think everybody else should speak that language, or you expect that they do, and you decide you're never going to understand them, you're never going to feel loved by them if they speak Italian or Mandarin or Spanish or Portuguese, you're going to miss out on a lot of love. You're going to miss out on a lot of incredible people. Here's the key. You can learn to speak their language, and they can learn to speak yours. But it depends on your conscious, intentional decisions to do so. You would need to be motivated somehow to do the work. If you knew somebody who didn't have the capacity, ability, or awareness to learn your language, would you lean in and learn theirs for the sake of the relationship? Wouldn't it be unconditional love if you were trying to connect with them where they are, even if they're not mutually connecting back in the same way? it seems like it would be fruitful. It would show the heart of Jesus to them. And I'm pretty sure there's a whole chapter in the Bible about it or something. So the 5 love languages books, I think they're kind of like a Rosetta Stone for relationships. I hope you can learn what you need to learn from them in order to connect and love and thrive in your relationships in life. And if you were a client and I was going to walk you through the Pearl practice around this and create an intentional new paradigm that creates results that you really want in your marriage around some issue that would speak to love language, like the way you feel loved and how you didn't feel loved. It might sound something like this. I just made this pearl up. This is not something that is my pearl or a client's or anything. So first you have to determine what's the fact. That's the details of the situation without your opinion or judgment in there. So it's like not positive or negative. Remember, facts are just neutral. So my significant other did or didn't something. Maybe you would say, didn't put the phone down at dinner, didn't give me the gift I asked for, didn't say anything about my outfit, didn't touch me when I was crying, didn't finish the dishes after I cooked. Basically, it's the thing that didn't happen that you wanted to happen because that would have made you feel loved. But we're not adding descriptives to it like he never gets off his phone, or she got what she wanted, but she didn't give me anything I wanted, or he walked away when I really needed a hug the most. He looked at me but didn't comment on my outfit, or she figured I'd do the dishes, so she left them for me. All of those they're not facts. Facts can be looked at by anybody and said, agreed upon. So when you add these descriptives, you're actually interpreting, and then you're really just talking about your paradigm, and you think that this is true, but the facts are different than your paradigm. So the old pearl fact, let's say my husband was on his phone over Christmas breakfast, and by paradigm, like the way I interpret that is he's all about himself. He never thinks about me. What a narcissist. That's not going to be fun. So like that creates emotions like I'm defensive, I'm angry, I'm hurt, which causes me to take action like I withhold, or I talk meanly, or I don't talk at all. And then the results of that are we don't talk throughout the day. The kids are confused, so they all go to their rooms, and the holiday feels ruined, and all my expectations are dashed, right? Like that's the tangible results. That's what we can all say, like, this is what happened. The legacy is if this continues, those kind of results continue to be gotten like often, then it's going to culminate in the legacy. He's going to spend more time at work. The kids are going to hate being with us, and we're probably going to be separated in the next 5 years. But then we flip it over, and the new pearl is like the intentional desire, and we start with the legacy. The legacy is like an intangible goal. I want to feel like we know each other and we can meet one another's needs. Like that's the essence of our marriage. We get it. We get each other. The results are tangible things that culminate in that legacy. I do yard work for him, and he pays attention to me when I talk about my day. The actions are what you would need to do to create the results you want. Remember, all of these things are about you. They're all of the things that are within your control, and we're not needing anybody else to change or do anything for this intentional new pearl. So it's not about it's not about getting somebody else to do things to get the results. It's all about what can you do to take the actions. So I get in the yard on Saturday mornings to help him out. And in order for him to get the results that he pays attention to me when I talk about the day, that would have to be, the action would be I communicate to him when it's really important to me that he listen and engage with me without strong emotion like frustration, right? Because that's not going to help him want to create that result of paying attention to me. But my communication kindly would help create that result. So the emotions that are going to inspire me to take this action are I'm motivated and energetic to do the yard work, and I'm safe and confident in my ability to ask for attention. The paradigm is the group of thoughts and beliefs that are going to cause me to feel motivated, energetic, safe, and confident, right? So I would have to create a new paradigm and say, what do I need to think that would cause me to feel that way, which would inspire me to take right action? I love helping my husband get things done so he feels productive. And I believe it will help him have more desire and time to connect with me when I need it. I can safely and confidently ask him for specific attention because I have language for it. And I can do it before I feel frustrated. I understand he does other things, a lot of other things, to intentionally love me. And he's going to learn how to meet my specific needs over time, just like I'm working on meeting his. So that's the Pearl practice, using love languages, understanding that. And I hope that's been helpful to you. So I bless you. I bless your marriage, your family, your household, your romance. I bless your friendships. And I bless your true identity to rise up and be revealed, restored, and released. Have a great day, guys. If you'd like to work with me and get coaching, become a coach, or start a coaching business, check out all the courses and coaching I offer at sterlingandstonementoring.com, or you can scroll through the show notes to find all the links that you need. I pray that your day will be full of joy, hope, transformation, and the presence of God.